On the news tonight, state government calls on communities to maintain peace and avoid acts capable of promoting violence. State House of Assembly passes Delta State Polytechnic Burutu Amendment Bill. Department of State Services asks organized labor to shelve planned nationwide protest. Abroad, UK and Jordan Air drop aid to hospital in northern Gaza. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us on the 8 o'clock news of the Delta Television, the People's Pride. My name is Princess Modi. The state government has called on communities to maintain peace, eschew bitter wrangling, and avoid giving wrong narratives about events in the state, as well as shun acts that could promote violence. The call came in a statement yesterday in Asaba by the State Commissioner for Information, Dr. Ifanyo Soza, against the background of speculations in some quarters that the Delta State University of Science and Technology, or ZORO, in Isoko North local government area, had been relocated. The statement said it had come to the attention of the state government that a protest purportedly sponsored and coordinated by certain anti-progressive elements was organized in Isoko land, ostensibly to express discontent over the erroneous narrative that the Delta State University of Science and Technology, or ZORO, was going to be relocated elsewhere. It stressed that the narrative was not only dangerously misleading, but was also deviously manipulated information and negative propaganda fueled by some unscrupulous persons for selfish political gains. That statement said the government was deeply saddened and disappointed that such a display of public discontent was allowed to take place, even after a very fruitful, cordial, and hugely successful meeting of the state governor and leaders of the recognized umbrella body of the Isoko Nation, the Isoko Development Union, IDU, led by its president, Professor Chris Akpotu, where the people were informed of the positive initiatives and progressive strides towards strengthening and consolidating the academic and educational standard of the Delta State University of Science and Technology. It pointed out that the protest was therefore uncalled for, adding that for the avoidance of doubt and to set the record straight, the Delta State University of Science and Technology had not been relocated, nor was it in the process of being so. The statement reiterated that Governor Sheriff Oberewari had confirmed to the delegation of leaders and traditional rulers from Isoko Nation that the National Universities Commission, NUC, had approved the establishment of the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, Pharmacy, and Health Sciences for the University of Science and Technology in the area. It added that the NUC's approval was a tremendous academic achievement and a masterstroke of immense proportions for a specialized institution of higher learning like the Delta State University of Science and Technology, or ZORO, which was wholly conceived, designed, and structured specifically to train and produce graduate students in the area of science and technology. That statement assured the Isoko people that the governor would not do anything directly or remotely, and for very obvious and personal reasons, to undermine the Isoko people, especially in the area of education. It called on all to be wary of elements who did not mean well for the state, but were rather hell-bent on spinning half-truths and deceptive information just to cause confusion and disaffection against the administration of Governor Sheriff Oberewari and his well-laid-out moral agenda. The Delta State Polytechnic Burutu Amendment Bill 2024 was today passed at the floor of the State House of Assembly after scaling through accelerated legislative process. Favour Okafor has details.
Suspending relevant sections of the House rules moved separately by the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Festus Oko, and seconded by the members representing Bomodi constituency, Honorable Oboro Preyo, and the member representing Ughelli North 1 constituency, Honorable Matthew Omonode. The bill scaled through first and second reading. Opening debate on the merits of the bill, the Deputy Majority Leader and member representing Ika South constituency, Honorable Festus Oko, said the amendment to the bill was just to insert the word maritime, which was intended to give the institution a stronger, visible, and defined professional status. The member representing Bomodi constituency, Honorable Oboro Preyo, the member representing Ndokwa West constituency, Honorable Charles Emetulu, and the member representing Burutu constituency 2, Honorable Oloye, Perotu, who spoke in favor of the bill, agreed that including maritime in the name of the institution would aptly describe the core disciplines offered by the institution, which attracted students to study there, while also commending Governor Sheriff Oborowori for wanting to upgrade the Delta State Polytechnic Borutu to a maritime polytechnic. The bill enjoyed unanimous support through voice vote.
Just to recite that maritime, to give it a coronation. Mr. Speaker, if not, it will be like every other polytechnic. And while we are trying to recite that maritime, that is what is attracting people from other states and other communities to come and attend their school. In my very view and the view of people from my constituency, the amendment sought for me. There is a similar higher institution, the Federal Maritime University, within that same axis, so to say. So this simply complements it and gives it professional touch and stronger visibility.
Commending lawmakers for the speedy passage of the bill, the Speaker, Right Honorable Omomotimi Guo, said the Delta State Polytechnic Borutu Law 2023 came into operation in May 22, 2023, and due to its infrastructural challenges, coupled with its inability to access the Tertiary Education Trust Fund available to public tertiary institutions in the country, and also agitations from stakeholders, particularly students and the host community, the state governor saw the need to elevate the former Delta State Polytechnic Borutu to the Delta State Maritime Polytechnic Borutu. He said when signed into law, the bill will properly define the institution's main objective.
The word maritime was omitted from the name of the institution. The passage of the bill today has restored the word maritime to the name of the institution, which signifies the specialty of the core disciplines offered in the Delta State Maritime Polytechnic Borutu.
Favor Kafo reporting.
Public enlightenment officers in the 25 local government areas of the state have been charged to improve on their work in order to achieve the moral agenda of the state government. The State Commissioner for Information, Dr. Ifeanyi Osuoza, gave the charge when he interfaced with public enlightenment officers and field information officers of the ministry. Henry Usiayo reports.
Dr. Osuoza charged the staff to double their efforts in the discharge of their duties of enlightening residents in their operational areas under policies and programs of the state government. The commissioner declared that under his watch, public enlightenment officers will be held accountable if they fail to discharge their duties, and called on the leadership of the body to ensure that the officers were in the forefront of enlightening Deltas on the more agenda of the present administration.
People should do the relevant thing, following the extant laws, because it's part of your job that you are doing.
The functioning director, Feed Publicity in the Ministry of Information, Mr. Timothy Agbarago, said the Public Enlightenment Office was created by the immediate past governor of the state, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, to adequately disseminate government policies and programs to the rural dwellers for the government to feel the pulse of the people and take necessary action. Mr. Barago pledged that the body would not deviate from the purpose for which it was established, assuring the commissioner that the officers would work assiduously to ensure that the more agenda of the state government was properly disseminated.
Communities are well reported, and so that the government can get their feelers, can get force from them to know exactly what they want and how to address their particular problems and challenges. And that is why the governor found expedient to create a department for that very particular purpose. The more agenda with respect to publicity of government policies and programs.
The chairman of the Feed Information Chapel, Comrade Charles Ojefia, said the interactive session availed public enlightenment officers to express their mind and the challenges they face to the commissioner.
We are very grateful to the Honorable Commissioner who have today charged us to go out and improve on our work, to do our work better so that we'll get the benefit of our work. As we are going back, we are going to hold another meeting, what they call a meeting, where we'll discuss these issues, then profile solution how we can get this work done better. Give advice on areas that need advice on how each officer can up his or her game.
Henry Luciayu reporting.
A public hearing on the Delta State Protection of Persons with Disability Bill has been scheduled for Monday next week. A statement by the chairman, House Committee on Housing, Women Affairs, Girl Child Entrepreneurship and Humanitarian Support Services, Honorable Bridget Anyafolu, says the public hearing will hold at the Press Center of the State House of Assembly Complex on Okpanam Road, Asaba, from 10 a.m. The statement has enjoined interested individuals, organizations, and the general public to be part of the process, as stakeholders' inputs are key to the making of the proposed law. It urged those who have not submitted copies of their memoranda to come along with them to the public hearing. The committee had, in an earlier statement and in pursuit of its mandate, called for written contributions from interested organizations, institutions, and individuals, including the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, Humanitarian Affairs, Community Support Services, and Girl Child Development, and the Ministry of Housing, the Directorate of Establishment and Pensions, the Ministries of Health, Justice, Basic and Secondary Education, and non-government organizations, NGOs, are among others whose inputs are also being expected in the making of the law. All memoranda are to be 20 copies enclosed in sealed envelopes and addressed to the committee marked Delta State Protection of Persons with Disability Bill and forwarded to reach the committee on or before Monday next week, the scheduled date for the public hearing. The Joint Committee is expected to meet to scrutinize and discuss the inputs of the various stakeholders before presenting its report at plenary. The Assembly had, in its sitting on Wednesday, January 24, referred the Delta State Protection of Persons with Disability Bill to the Joint Committee after the bill was read for the second time at plenary, presided over by the Speaker, Honorable Imomotimi Gowa. The Department of State Services, DSS, has asked organized labor to shelve its planned nationwide protest over high cost of living and sundry issues in the country in the interest of peace. Reacting to the protest notice in a statement yesterday, the DSS said, while it was the right of the labor movement to embark on protests, the body should not go ahead with the proposed protests so as not to further jeopardize the prevailing situation in the country. The statement was signed by the DSS Director of Public Relations and Strategic Communications, Dr. Peter Afunanya. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has however dared the DSS to stop the protests, advising the secret police to face its job of providing credible intelligence to government on the devastating effects of the harsh economic policies. Labour had last week served the federal government a notice to embark on a two-day protest between February 27 and 28 to protest the hardship which arose from the removal of fuel subsidy and the flotation of the Naira by the present administration. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has said those calling for a coup in the country are enemies of Nigeria, saying the law would catch up with them. General Musa stated this while fielding questions from newsmen shortly after he inaugurated the main entrance of the 6th Division, Nigerian Army and Officers Transit Accommodation, both as the division headquarters in Port Harcourt. While admitting that the country was experiencing some challenges, he said calls for coup were not the way to go, as the nation would achieve more and develop faster under a democracy. The defense chief said the armed forces was on top of its game and would continue to do the needful in protecting democracy in the country. He emphasized that what was needed was for Nigerians to be patient and give their support to the government to enable it succeed, especially as the incumbent administration was doing its utmost to improve the economy and other challenges across the country. The military had earlier revealed that there were pressures from certain unnamed quarters for a takeover of government following the lingering insecurity in the country. The federal government has halted the exportation of cooking gas in a bid to lower the price of the commodity in the country. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Ekperipe Ekpo, broke the news to journalists at the Internal Stakeholders Workshop in Abuja with the theme, Harnessing Nigeria's Proven Gas Reserves for Economic Growth and Development. He said the country would no longer, for the time being, export liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, commonly referred to as cooking gas, in a bid to alleviate the scarcity and steep price surge within the country, adding that the government was interacting with critical stakeholders to ensure that there was no exportation of LPG. Mr. Ekpo stressed that all LPG produced within the country would have to be domesticated, adding that when this was done, the volume would increase and the price would automatically crash. Meanwhile, the National Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria, NOGASA, has asked the federal government to address the issue of high exchange rate. Chairman of the body, Mr. Kenneth Korea, said the rise in the exchange rate was responsible for the high cost of cooking gas in the country. Statistics show that the price of cooking gas has risen to 1,500 naira per kilogram in the last month. Mr. Korea stated that most Nigerians had adopted the dollar as their legal tender, adding that the increase in the exchange rate was the main challenge facing modular refineries from coming on stream, and asking the government to ensure that payments for petroleum products were made in naira as part of measures to address the rising prices of petroleum products. He also hinted at plans by the gas suppliers to withdraw their services if their concerns were not met before next month's end, stating that the high interest rate charged by banks was a significant challenge facing their operations. The Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Yushua Ahmed, has advised Corps members to avoid unnecessary journeys that would expose them to accidents, kidnappings, and other risks. The advice came while the NYSC DG was addressing Corps members and camp officials at the NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp in Iseyin, Oyo State. He reiterated the commitment of the NYSC management to ensuring the adequate welfare and security of Corps members in the country, while advising them to desist from requesting unnecessary relocation to other states, which could deprive them of smooth service here experience. General Ahmed urged the youth to actively participate in the skills acquisition and entrepreneurship development trainings, adding that the NYSC had partnered with banks and notable foundations on interest-free loans for Corps members with marketable skills and innovative ideas. The NYSC coordinator in the state, Mr. Abel Odoba, commended Corps members for their impressive and mature display of character since the commencement of the orientation exercise. Mr. Odoba added that the Corps members had been up and doing in all camp activities with the maximum cooperation of camp officials and security agencies. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has appealed to the federal government to honor and implement the agreement the union entered into with the government to forestall industrial action. The ASU coordinator in charge of Kano Zone, Mr. Abdul Kadri Mohammed, made the appeal at a news conference at the end of a zonal meeting yesterday in Kano State. He said the issues included renegotiation of the federal government ASU 2009 agreement reached when the exchange rate to the US dollar was 146 naira as against the current 1,900 naira, adding that the exchange rate had eroded salaries by 90%. Mr. Mohammed decried the fact that the federal government was reluctant to sign the draft agreement reached with the union after the composition of new leadership of the negotiation committee. He, however, confirmed that members of the union had received partial payment of their 7-month withheld salaries and stressed the need to ensure full payment of the remaining balance. While calling for payment of the earned academic allowances and promotion arrears abandoned after agreement, the ASU official condemned the dissolution of the governing councils of public universities, adding that the action contravened the university's miscellaneous acts and respective university laws. He advocated a review of the Nigerian Universities Commission (NUC) Act to check the proliferation of universities in the country without adequate provision for funding. On the State of the Nation, the union decried the spate of insecurity, poverty, unemployment, rising cost of living, displacement, and destitution in the country. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukayode, has charged chief executive officers of banks across the country to always abide by extant regulations and rules governing their practice as a way of tackling economic and financial crimes and other forms of corruption. Mr. Olukayode gave the charge in Abuja when he received the body of bank CEOs under the auspices of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, who called on his office at the corporate headquarters of the EFCC. The EFCC boss, who frowned at the sharp practices, compromises, and unethical practices in the banking sector, stressed that the ethical reorientation of bank workers was imperative to sanitizing the sector. He assured the bank CEOs that the Commission would work together with them in a way that would encourage mutual trust, which in turn would help banks and businesses grow the economy. Mr. Olukayode reiterated his commitment to using the instrumentality of the agency's mandate to stimulate the economy. And still to come, UK and Jordan Air drop aid to hospital in northern Gaza. Stay with us.
Hello, my bro. Man, the rain is so heavy here. And there's so much traffic. I think we should postpone, huh?
Not a chance.
Aisha.
We don't quit, guys. I'll be there.
Done.
Two files received.
I'm on my way. Take first right in 50 meters and you're there. Copy that. Aisha, where are you?
Guess where?
2 minutes, 2 minutes, move! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Runway X.
The future of fashion showcasing.
Very impressive. How did you pull that off?
With Nigeria's top tech talents.
And Globe.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data. Glow with pride.
All right, you welcome back. The news continues. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
UK has airdropped aid into Gaza for the first time since war broke out in the country after striking a deal with Jordan. 4 tons of supplies, including medicines, food and fuel, were delivered into the Strip on a Jordanian Air Force plane. Packages fitted with parachutes floated down to the Tal Al-Hawa Hospital in northern Gaza. UK Foreign Secretary Mr. David Cameron said the aid would save lives and keep the hospital running. The UK had until now only sent aid to Gaza by land and sea, with northern Gaza, a wasteland after nearly 5 months of war, impossible to reach. The World Food Programme had suspended deliveries there because its convoys had endured complete chaos and violence. There is currently a heavy Israeli military presence in the area, and much of the population were forced south. However, an estimated 300,000 Palestinians remain in the northern Gaza with little food or water, and the UN had warned for months of a looming famine. The British Jordanian delivery contains diesel, critical medical equipment, and ration packs for patients and medical staff. China has requested the International Court of Justice (ICJ) to give its opinion on Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories, which it said was illegal. China's Foreign Ministry's legal advisor, Ma Zingmin, told the court in the Netherlands that justice had been delayed on the issue and should be given as soon as possible. Ma Zingmin said Israel had occupied Palestinian territories for 57 years, noting that it was unlawful. The UN's top court, also known as the World Court, this week was hearing arguments from more than 50 states following a request by the UN General Assembly in 2022 to issue a non-binding opinion on the legal consequences of the Israeli occupation. The hearings were part of a Palestinian push to get international legal institutions to examine Israel's conduct, which had become more urgent since the October 7, 2023 attacks by Hamas in Israel, which killed 1,200 people, and Israel's military response that has since killed about 29,000 Palestinians. Turkey has promised to provide maritime security support to Somalia to help the African country defend its territorial waters. Turkey and Somalia signed a defense and economic cooperation agreement earlier this month during Somali defense minister's visit to Ankara. Commenting on the details of the agreement, a Turkish Defense Ministry official, speaking on the condition of anonymity, said Ankara had been providing training to Somali army for more than 10 years, adding that the agreement aims to enhance defense cooperation between Turkey and Somalia. Reports say Turkey had become a close ally of the Somali government in recent years, as Ankara had built schools, hospitals and infrastructure and provided scholarships for Somalis to study in Turkey. In 2017, Turkey opened its biggest overseas military base in Mogadishu, Somali's capital, and also provides training to Somali military and police.
All right, you're welcome back. Back home and in business, the parallel market exchange rate has experienced a significant decline, plummeting to a record low of 1,960 naira per euro, driven by persistent demand pressures that continue to erode the country's value. This marks a notable decrease of 5.36% as 105 naira compared to the 1,855 naira rate recorded the previous day at the black market. This depreciation stands as an unprecedented occurrence, representing the lowest point in the historic performance of the naira against the euro. The National Bureau of Statistics has reported black market exchange rates have continued to witness the devaluation of the Nigerian naira, exacerbated by a substantial surge in inflation for January 2024. The inflation rate surged to 29.90, indicating a significant rise from the 28.92 recorded in the previous month. These developments persist despite the Central Bank of Nigeria's implementation of several policies aimed at bolstering the supply of foreign exchange. A day after the federal government and major cement manufacturers in the country agreed to bring down the price of the product, the government has threatened that it would allow massive importation of cement if the price was not reduced across the country. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dangiwa issued the threat at a meeting with Cement Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, CMAN, in Abuja. At an earlier meeting, major cement manufacturers in Nigeria, Dangote, Boa, and Lafarge, had agreed that the price of a bag of cement would not exceed between 7,000 naira and 8,000 naira. Mr. Dangiwa expressed concerns that in the past couple of months, the country had witnessed an alarming increase in the prices of cement and other building materials. He said the reasons given by cement manufacturers for the price increase, the high cost of gas and manufacturing equipment, were not enough for such astronomical pricing. The minister expressed his displeasure at the position of the cement manufacturers that the association did not interfere with the pricing of cement, adding that it should not just fold its arms when things were going wrong. The price of a bag of cement has increased to about 13,000 naira amidst a cost of living crisis that has led to spikes in the prices of goods and services across the country. And in sports, former England #1 goalkeeper Joe Hart has announced that he will retire at the end of the season. The Celtics of Scotland goalkeeper, who made the announcement today, said he was ready to hang his boots after an illustrious career which began in 2004 when he made his debut with Shrewsbury. Joe Hart, who also kept for England between 2010 to 2017, where he raked up 74 caps, featured in 4 major tournaments with the English national team. The former Manchester City goalkeeper, who will turn 37 years at the end of this current 3-year contract at Celtics, where he won the Scottish Premier League title, had also played for Tranmere Rovers, Blackpool, Birmingham City, Torino, Burnley, and Tottenham Hotspurs. World tennis number 2 Carlos Alcaraz has revealed that he will defend his Indian Wells title next month, despite suffering an ankle injury yesterday in Rio de Janeiro ATP Tour. The 20-year-old Spaniard, who defeated Jannik Sinner in last year's final, said the injury he suffered yesterday was a slight knock, asserting that he was fit to play the competition. Alcaraz has slumped while playing against Brazilian player Thiago Monteiro, but was quickly attended to, with the player revealing that he underwent an MRI scan, which revealed that he needed treatment but assured that he will be fit for the game at Indian Wells. Meanwhile, Alcaraz will face fellow Spaniard and former world number 1 Rafael Nadal in an exhibition match in Las Vegas on March 3, before defending his title on March 6. The state government, through the Delta State Bursary and Scholarship Board, has commenced the payment of the 2022-2023 Student Special Assistance Scheme Bursary Award. A government statement says payment will be made only to students of Delta State origin in tertiary institutions across the country who were duly registered for the 2022-2023 session and who were verified and cleared by their institutions and the State Scholarship Board. The Air Force Military School, AFMS, Air Force Girls Military School, AFGMS, JOS, has commenced online registration for entrance examination into the Junior Secondary School, JSS1, for the 2024-2025 academic session. A statement signed by the State Director of Public Communications, Mrs. Teresa Oliko, has advised interested candidates to purchase the scratch cards and past questions booklets at the cost of 1,500 Naira and 500 Naira from the Directorate of Political and Security Services at the Olorogo Felix Ibru Secretariat Annex on the Mariam Babangida Way, Asaba. The statement enjoined prospective candidates to take note and be guided accordingly. The monthly environmental sanitation exercise for this month will hold across the state on Saturday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. During the period of the exercise, there will be restrictions on the movement of vehicles and persons. Residents are advised to cut overgrown weeds, silt their drainages, and keep their environment clean to prevent the spread of diseases, as it is the responsibility of every resident to clean 20 meters radius of their premises. A statement by the Director of Public Communications, Mrs. Teresa Adiaboliko, says the Commissioner, Ministry of Environment, Mr. Jamani Ejiro, the Permanent Secretary, staff of Ministry of Environment, Task Force on Environment, and other relevant authorities will monitor the cleanup exercise. Officials of the Delta State Waste Management Board, Local Government Council, and other relevant authorities will evacuate the resultant waste to approved dump sites. Accordingly, those found not participating in the exercise will be brought before mobile courts for prosecution. Some documents forgotten in a commercial tricycle, popularly known as keke, plying the Federal College of Education Road en route Ibuzo, have been found. The documents, which are original copies, all bear the names Mr. Ahubure Sunday. They include letter of appointment, confirmation, birth certificate, local government area identification certificate, and promotion letters. The owner of the documents or persons with useful information as to the identity of the owner have been requested to contact the Public Relations Unit of the Delta Broadcasting Service, Asaba, or call 0805 033 5060. I take the number again, 0805 033 5060. And now to our thought for the day. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. To end the news, here are the highlights. The state government has called on communities to maintain peace, eschew bitter wrangling, and avoid giving wrong narratives about events in the state, as well as shun acts that could promote violence. The call came in a statement yesterday in Asaba by the State Commissioner for Information, Dr. Ifanyo Soza, against the background of speculations in some quarters that the Delta State University of Science and Technology, Ozoro, in Isoko North local government area, had been relocated. The Delta State Polytechnic Burutu Amendment Bill 2024 was today passed at the floor of the State House of Assembly after scaling through accelerated legislative process. Suspending relevant sections of the House rules moved separately by the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Festus Oko, and seconded by the members representing Bomadi constituency, Honorable Oboro Preyo, and the member representing Ugeli North 1 constituency, Honorable Matthew Umonade. The bill scaled through first and second reading. The Department of State Services, DSS, has asked organized labor to shelve its planned nationwide protest over high cost of living and sundry issues in the country in the interest of peace. Reacting to the protest notice in a statement yesterday, the DSS said, while it was the right of the labor movement to embark on protests, the body should not go ahead with the proposed protests so as not to further jeopardize the prevailing situation in the country. And that's our news. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Princess Modi. Have a blissful night rest.